All right, let's get into the paper review now and bring you many of the stories headlines jostling for your attention this morning. We have joining us in the studio leadership and communication strategist Dotun Ojon, who always joins us in the morning like this. Dotun, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
It's nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Right. Let's start from the Punch, or start with the Punch newspaper. Federal government confirms 110 Dapchi schoolgirls missing. Helicopters, jets join search. Well, this reminds us of Chibok girls.
Yeah, exactly. Close to about 4 years after, and we are having this. It's quite unfortunate. My major concern is that if we continue to hear stories like this, it's going to further destroy our value for human lives. Because as a boy while growing up, my father warned me not to listen to one particular news. They call it 1 o'clock news. Why? Because at every point in time when you listen to that news, it's always one bomb blast somewhere. And we were wondering, are these people human beings? Adoloro Kontibureke, Iraq, from Iraq to... We were wondering. At that point in time, we valued human lives. But now, in 21st century Nigeria, we are having cases of over 100 students being kidnapped at once.
And it seems the shock value, just like you said, is no longer
It's
there.
no longer there.
Exactly.
It's like, okay.
Exactly. All right, it happened.
Yeah,
It's
really.
sad anyway, but it happened.
And then we move on.
Unfortunately, no government is going to attach value to the life of its citizens when the citizens themselves do not attach values to themselves. And this is where we are going to, once we get to hear this number of students getting missing all the time, when we hear bomb blasts here and there, it affects our psyche and we take it as normal.
It becomes normal.
Yes, and I'm really afraid, because these things, with the way we are handling them, they are not going to be solved overnight. At every point in time, people read political minutes to it. At every point in time, people complain about...
Well, it's already being
figures.
politicized as it is. I mean, the blame game is already on. And, well, thankfully, we now have a figure to it. Initially, government was not even sure how many girls had been abducted. Of course, you remember the drama that, happened around when this happened, when the governor, Gaidam, said there was nothing, there was no abduction.
Yeah.
You know, the back and forth and
then
all
it
of
was
that.
like they've been rescued. Oh, okay, fine. It was wrong intel and so on. Well, let's move on now.
Yeah.
We have a corruption rating. Sarah backs TI, that's Transparency International, says Buhari hasn't done enough. A rating is out and Nigeria is rejecting the ratings again.
Yes, the rating, if you want to look at it very critically, there are several reasons why everybody will align to the fact that this is actually correct. Not because Buhari is corrupt, but because of the fact that when you are talking about corruption index like this, what do they look at? They look at, first, the presidency. They look at the people around the president. They look at the parliament. They look at the judiciary. These are the set of people. They are not going to look at pepper sellers under the Maitre Bridge. But when you look at these people, in all honesty...
But even looking at institution, our own NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, came out and said, well, if you look at the ratings of institutions, the police is still as corrupt.
The judiciary
are all
follows.
there. These are all.
And these are all information.
Exactly. That they work with.
So the only thing this government can do is to continue to assure the people that the president we knew, who before the election is still the president we have now. Not that they will continue to condemn the release of Transparency International. The fact is that,
according to the spokesman, Shehu Garba, he's like, look, what exactly really is the criterion, or criteria, if you like, that Transparency International has used to come up with these figures? That anyone who knows where Nigeria is coming from before this administration came on board would know that this government has done a lot.
Now,
the issue of TSA, for example, and all the rest of them.
Now, let me tell you, the fact is that when you compare this government to the past one, for example, you will be alarmed with the figure those people in the past government actually stole. You will be alarmed. But now the people in this government are stealing according to the availability of fund. If they had much more fund, they would have stolen more.
Okay.
And he also
Let's
talks
move
about
on. We have
the
so
body
many other
language
papers.
of the government sometimes. Because when you're talking about, for instance, the former secretary to the government of the Federation, when issues came, how long it took before there was the decisive action against him, Babachir Lawal, the NIA, Ikoyi Gate, as the case may be, how long it took before government had to work on all of these things. I think these are all issues.
Majorly.
And the fact is, they remain perception. It remains a perception.
Exactly.
Yes.
How is it different really from reality? That is a question.
Yeah,
Okay,
perception is reality. That's public opinion.
Like they say, perception is stronger than
all right,
reality.
there's so much. Federal government, World Bank in discussion for $1 billion power loan. Patience Jonathan asks court to jail bank chiefs over frozen accounts. And then we have man kills 4 children, maid self over wife's infidelity. And 60 billion naira interconnect debt threatens telecoms industry. Well, these are some of the headlines here.
Can we quickly talk about our mental health in Nigeria? Because when you get to the hospital, you want to do a medical check and they run through a scan and everything through your body. Nobody is concerned whether you are healthy when it comes to mental. And the reality is that many of us have mental disorders. And poverty has made it worse. Sometimes we behave in a certain way and we are wondering, am I the one that actually acted like this? So it's a case now that every hospital needs to take very seriously, every health practitioner, the issue of mental case, because I wouldn't know why a man will suspect his wife and kill every member of his family.
Exactly.
It is a case of mental issue.
That's true.
The Nation, what is it saying here? Air Force steps up search for 110 kidnapped girls. Of course, we read the details already in the Punch. Church built on Jesus' tomb shut over tax. That's a very interesting one.
Yes, you will not use the name of Jesus to block payment of tax. You know, it happened in Lagos, and a lot of people were, you understand, a lot of people were raising eyebrow. And I tell people, we cannot continue. Leadership, there are 3 enemies of leadership. The first one is religion. The second is resentment. And the third is race. We cannot continue to desire good leadership and put these 3 luggages in our front. We are not going to get it. Today, I think the only set of people that we should commend, the only religious group that we should commend is perhaps the traditional religion, because they command the highest population.
And people still do fear the traditional institution.
Forget about it.
Imagine going to court, Ojon. And you were given a Shango.
You understand? Everybody I think the only group that is not fomenting trouble as we speak now, and I take responsibility for this word, is the traditionalists. Because you will be alarmed that half of those people you see in church still patronize them. And on the day of election, they don't come to say, oh, this one is my member. They go there to vote for whosoever
John, let's
they
quickly
like.
move on. $2.1 billion deal. Ex-Army Chief Minima refunds 1.7 billion naira. Okay. All right.
That is new, because the initial reports were that no, I am innocent. There's nothing. I have no case to answer, and all of that.
Yeah,
it's okay.
All right, let's just leave that.
Daily Sun says Dapchi federal government confirms 110 students missing. Deploys soldiers in all schools as NAF launches 24-hour search. Again, UB government indicts army. And you have the list of all the girls that have been abducted here.
Of course, their parents have actually come out to say, we have the authentic figure of the number of girls abducted. Any other figure would be fake news. And so, that governments, whether at the state or federal level, should rely on them to give, the accurate numbers.
This may sound very unpopular. But with my experience in time past, either it's 101 or 110 or 107, I doubt all the figures put together, all of them, plus the one the parents are actually, I doubt all of them. And you have the opportunity to prove me wrong or right in days to come. But again, it's not whether 100 or 110 people were missing. The fact is that
one child is even one too many.
It's more important. It's more important than everyone. Biblically, if you check the Bible, Jesus Christ was talking about
he would leave the 99 and go search for the
That's to tell you the value on that one. We have Ethics Committee begins probe of senators opposed to election reordering. 10 lawmakers risk 1 year suspension. 1 year suspension means the end of your days in the National Assembly. That's what it means.
So what happens to their constituents when, if they are suspended?
They have totally been disrepresented.
This is not the first time. This is not the first time. But you know, we talked about it the other time. The only way to salvage this country from the hands of these powerful men and women is to have all the other elections before the presidential election. That is, even the not too young to run bill that everybody is talking about can only materialize when we have other elections. It shows that if I come under an Akuko party, if I'm popular with my people, I can win elections. Not that we will do a presidential election. If APC wins, every other person will align with it. The only way to actually secure the future of this country is to have all the other elections.
And you know what? In spite of the wranglings within the APC right now, you still hear reports of people jumping ship from other parties to the APC, which means it's the fact that they're the ruling party.
But they're still jumping ship from APC to other political parties in other places too.
But there are not that many jumping ship.
The next election is about self, not about society. And tactically, once I look at, okay, my area, for example, which political party is popular, do I have what's it called, cordiality with my governor? If the answer is yes, then I will go to the party's governor. But you can't say the same of El-Rufai and perhaps Senator Sani, for example.
Or even Akeredolu in Ondo State, where he's saying he recognizes only 2 senators, except...
So people will continue to move to places where they think their future is secure.
Yeah, exactly. Now we have 2019, Buhari Osinbajo not thinking of re-election. Now, as presidency, he's saying that.
Who is presidency? That's by the way.
According to Babacho Elawa.
We're not thinking, you see, we are very busy with governance right now. We are not thinking of 2019.
But why are we getting conflicting signals from them, really? I mean...
when someone says, I can take Nigeria to the next level, you know, statement, I can take Nigeria to the next level, let us, and so on. And
then Boss Mustafa, the SGF, says Buhari is going to run in 2019.
Exactly. This never said Buhari is not going to run. It only said that, okay, we are not totally concentrating on the next election. We are busy fixing perhaps the roads and the sectors and all that. But the fact is that 1 year to election is actually too short a time for any politician to come and tell you that they are not thinking about the next election. The fact is that they are heavily thinking about it, and I doubt whether the issue of governance supersedes that as we speak.
All
right, that's it. Killing, Rocha's Foundation offers 1,000 Benue children scholarship, and NDDC awards scholarship to kids of 10 to slain policeman, and father kills 4 kids, sister-in-law, self in Anambra. Right, those are some of the headlines from the
Okay, the Vanguard says we don't need Tinubu's committee in Ondo State. That's the governor of Ondo speaking there, Rotimi Akeredolu. Order of elections, pro-Buhari senators face 1 year suspension. You already talked about that. Okay, we don't need Tinubu's committee in Ondo State. What does it mean by that?
It means that they are enjoying peace now as we speak in Ondo State APC. That's the meaning, because you discovered that before the election, there were divisions here and there. More so, one of their major aspirants, then Olushola Oke, moved from APC to AD. And everybody could read that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually supported him in another party. But now this same man is back in APC.
Yeah, but so, is there peace really in Ondo APC?
Yeah, when you say peace, it's going to be around 60%, and anything 60% is something risky. Because their former chairman, Isaac Kekemeke, is still actually saying, I am still the party chairman.
Yeah, and Akeredolu says no.
And when the governor came out to say, oh, I only know 2 senators, the other one is... You understand? But
and you call that peace?
But give it to them. Give it to them. The ability to actually even reabsorb in the first place is something we should commend.
But
did they really have a choice?
There's a way you commend that, but the point there is there are also issues of interest. Bringing him back and knowing the pedigree of as the case may be, you certainly know that he has to be on your camp.
All right. So in other words, Tinubu should concentrate on places like Kaduna, Damawa, even Ekiti, where the APC is not the ruling party. They have this issue between Fayemi and what's the other gentleman?
Yes, really? I think majorly, if you look at APC, I think the agenda is as many as the bunch of broom. When when you begin to single them out, everybody seems to be running with different ideology and all that. But again, If this reconciliation move fails, then there's going to be a major disaster come 2019.
All right, according to the Oni of Ife, about Gunsi, Nigeria is sitting on keg of gunpowder with youth unemployment. Well, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, it stands about 14% right now. But that seems to be a really conservative figure.
It is.
When you consider, you know, it's like everywhere you look, left, right, center, young people, able-bodied young men and women,
yes,
jobless.
That's the way to draw your own statistics.
Yeah.
When you go under the bridge in Oshodi, just line up 10 people and ask any one of them that that have reasonable thing he or she is doing, then you will be alarmed. You know, we have continued to talk about this. The reality is not just that people are jobless. The reality is that even those that are employed are underemployed. People go to the office and you ask them, they dress up in the morning and you ask them, how much is your salary? And they earn 12,000 naira. Unfortunately for them, their wife is pregnant in the house, multiplying the number of people that are going to live in poverty.
And more graduates are taking up the taxi driving profession. You find them driving
they are coming out of school by the day. You are wondering. Huh.
Okay.
Are you through
yeah,
with
I think really that's about it. What else do we have here other than, you know, well, Benue killings, controversy trails withdrawal of special forces by IGP.
All right.
Okay,
We have this day newspaper now. Finally, federal government confirms 110 Dapchi schoolgirls unaccounted for. UB governor blames military for Boko Haram attack. PDP calls for prompt, decisive action. And Nigeria Air Force deploys air assets, surveillance in search and rescue. PDP dismisses INEC investigation on underage voting, queries exclusion of Katsina. Remember the issue of the underage voters in Kano?
Yes, I think the problem is everywhere, only that we complain about Kano because it came on the face of camera and a number of people could see that these people are actually many. But I've seen communities, even in Southwest, when the community head was calling everybody, oh yeah, come one more, sit out, bring your children, let's go and register and all that. You understand? And again, it brings to fore the question, can we ever have a credible election in Nigeria?
But for these underage kids to be able to vote in the first place, it means they registered, they have PVCs.
Of course they do. That's what we are saying. So
because that is where the problem starts.
It's from from that first process. We didn't get it right at that first process, and that will continue to multiply even throughout the entire process. So you continue to wonder.
So when INEC comes to say, well, we were not responsible for conducting the local government elections in the states, but who registered the children in the first place? How did they get PVCs?
I'm not sure you totally need a PVC to vote at the local government level, depending on what the state is saying at that point in time. It could be temporary, it could be permanent, it could be just being on the voters register. Any state can adopt any strategy, so I do not know which one.
Let's leave it now. Vids, no sacred cows after a deadline. Fowler warns, and APC National Caucus meets today over Oyegun others' tenure. Well, that's much on the papers this morning, Dotun. Thank you very much, and I think we have to keep you for the next discussion on the Dapchi schoolgirls. Thank you very much.
Just take a sip of your coffee, and so you'll be fresh for the next discussion.
Stay with us now. We'll go on a short break, and then when we come back, we'll delve into Yobe State, the Dapchi girls, hashtag Dapchi girls, like we had Chibok girls at the time. Stay with us on the program.